Okay, okay, thank you. So if you can see my screen, my name is Onokwemepa Dioye, and I'm a Mandela Rhodes Scholar currently at the University of Cape Town. And for the past few years, I've been doing this, going from one university to another in Nigeria, while I was still in Nigeria, to educate undergraduates on how to uh, go about research, particularly research methodology, because I personally know what I went through to to learn some of these concepts. So one of the things I do over the years has been reaching out to undergraduates and other research levels to educate them on research methodology. And that's what we'll be doing again today. And this will be a first series using this particular approach. This will be the first series. And I just want to implore you to please pay attention. If you have any question you want to ask, please feel free to ask many questions as we proceed into the course. All right. So these are the things we'll be doing today. We'll try to look into these categories before the end of today, and there will be a section for question and answer. And definitely, I'm open to any form of mentorship in posterior times. All right. So basically, what is research? So fundamentally, research is just a process, but not just a process. It's a systematic process. And when we talk about systematic, that is, it's in layers, it's in steps, it's in stages. It has a standard that you must follow. So you don't just do research all in the name of fulfilling partial, yeah, making partial fulfillment of your program. No, it's beyond that. It's a process that you need to explore, where you interpret concepts, where you update knowledge. Because the essence of we going to the university or polytechnic or college of education, whatever institution of learning that we have, the essence of we going to these places is to acquire knowledge, and not just to acquire the knowledge, but to actually apply the knowledge to solve a problem, to make our society a better space, conducive space for humanity, and to also develop the nation. So the essence of we now, going about research is to have all this done, contribute to the academic advancement. And let me tell you, one of the things that will make your school to rank in the global level is how much contribution you've made to the academic space. How much policy have you derived, have you come up with in your institution? Do you have research institution? Do you have research center? Do you have research institute in your faculties, in your department? How much impact are you making from these spaces? That is one of the things that brings about ranking in any institution across the world. All right. And with the result you get as a researcher, you're able to drive innovations. All right. You are able to support evidence-based decisions to make the world a better place. And of course, there are different type of research. When you talk about research, it can be in different formats or different forms. It can be in academic form, it can be in industrial form. Where I had to distinguish, yeah, we have a lot more, but then I'm just limiting to these two because of the scope, because of the scope of this of the population I have here. So academic and industrial. Academic, as the word implies, it has to do with focusing on certain theoretical insights where you peer review your publication, your writing or your article, and then you present this knowledge. All right, you defend this knowledge, be it in a conference, be it in seminars, what have you, hypnosis and all. You present your knowledge that you've acquired, you present them for the world to know. This is what you've discovered, this is what you've seen, this is what you have compared, this is what you have explored, and this is what you think can contribute to our intellectual capacity of our state, of our society. All right. And then industrial is practically solving industrial problems. You carry a certain research, you look into the market space, what is happening here, what are the applications, what are the innovations we can bring into the market space to make our industrial uh, sector more richer and more encompassing. That is the essence of industrial research. And one of the things I want to add to that is that uh, it has to be a synergy there has to be a synergy between academic and industrial research. We can't be doing academic research when we are not make when it is not making impact in the industrial space. And these are I'm beginning to lay this foundation because these are things that will inform your decision when you are concluding on your research topic, regardless of the course of your background. All right. So in the academic space, what contribution are you making? In industrial space, what is the impact of your academic research? And if you look at the world, seriously, if you look at the world system and developed country, one of the things you will discover is that these these countries, what makes them stand out, what makes them develop is the fact that they're able to come up with innovation on a daily basis. As I speak to you right now, researchers are working across the world, working on bringing new innovation. In my research group in the university where I am, every now and then we do meetings and we do a lot of research. As yesterday, we are having a conference meeting where we are talking about new innovation in the engineering industry. And our next task to carry out, the next research to do, the next focus, the next trajectory, the next point of focus for our research. That is what we are talking about. That's the essence of having institutions. That's the essence of having universities. So we have universities so that you go about doing research, solving problems, and making industry, making the world, making your country, making your community better. So what is the cycle, the action cycle that must be your checklist anytime you want to embark on research process? First is to plan. All right. You have to sit down, you have to sit and plan. You have to agree with yourself, what actually do I want to do? It's beyond just it's something I want to do so I can graduate from school. No, you would not be happy with yourself when you leave school and actually you cannot do simple proper research. I'm telling you. And I say a lot because, of course, I also have opportunity to lecture in a block of institutions, all right? And I see what students do a lot most time when they want to do research, and some of them resort to probably paying. Why do you have to pay someone to do your research? That's not research. No, we need to change the narrative. We need to get it right, and it has to start with us. So first is sit and plan. If you can sit to press your phone and do other things on your phone, then you can sit to actually plan for your research. Then act. So the action is all these things you are going to be learning now. And in the process of acting, you observe. What are your observations? A good researcher must be a good observer. All right. So then you reflect on what are the things you are discovering and how can you make this process better. Then now let's go to choosing a research topic. The first thing you have to understand is before you go about choosing any topic, remember uh, we talk about industrial research and academic research, right? So you are going to first of all identify certain gap. So you all have your background. Let's say, for instance, you are in the banking and finance sector. Like banking and finance, that's your program. You are studying banking and finance, right? That's your program, or computer science, or cybersecurity, whatever you are studying. The first thing you want to identify is what are the unanswered questions, what are the overlooked area in your own space. Of course, researchers, you know, scholars have worked on several concepts in your field. So you want to look into your field and check. You want to do a proper literature review of what has been done in your space, in your field, to know what has been the unanswered questions or an overlooked or inconclusive knowledge that has been, inconclusive theories that has been over time in your field. Now we are in the era of AI now. So let's say, for instance, you are in the science related or whatever course you are doing. How can you start thinking of, what can be the synergy between artificial intelligence and banking and finance? What is the overlooked area in this gap? What are the unanswered questions in this gap? So you want to begin to look into them so that you will be able to make proper, you know, research topic. And there is a model you can adopt, which is gap spotting model. All right. And another way to investigate after you've used gap spotting model, another advanced investigation to take can be SWOT analysis. I want to believe we're all familiar with SWOT analysis, where you check for the strengths, you check for the weaknesses, you check for the opportunities, you check for the threats to that particular idea or topic that you are looking at. All right. So you want to do this analysis after gap spotting model. And what does it entail? So gap spotting model is in three dimensions basically. You have the confusion spotting, the neglect spotting, and the application spotting. So in confusion, you check for conflicting, literature. Maybe one scholar, one researcher is saying this in this particular literature concerning this particular concept. Then another scholar is saying something else. It's becoming unclear, it's becoming confusing. One scholar is saying black is black absorb much heat. Then the other scholar is saying no, black does not absorb much heat. Now you can see there's a confusion there. So you may want to look at that. Either any confusion, any conflicting concept in this my field that I want to look into, are there neglected area? This is the neglect spotting. Neglect spotting just simply means, are there areas that does not have not been sufficiently studied and when it comes to your field. There are certain concepts that are necessarily not have been properly studied and still hanging. We still need more knowledge on it. Like, for instance, this artificial intelligence of the thing now. Everyone, this this tool has come to stay. So definitely everyone now should be talking about it. So in your feed, if your feed now rather has not actually looked into this properly, it may be a spot you want to look at. Application spotting, then applying existing theory to new areas. So probably there are existing theories, you want to then apply them to your new concept, the areas that you are looking at. So probably it's a new field entirely, but of course, there are always theoretical framework that you can apply in whatever area you want to look into. So another thing you have to understand is whatever you are doing as a research must follow a SMART framework. All right. Whatever you want to do as your goal, as your objective in your research, it has to take SMART framework. And what is SMART framework? SMART simply means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, all right, and time bound. Your research topic, your objective, your goal must be specific. What are you actually doing? All right. So when you are checking to see that, oh, am I picking the right topic? Or before you even present them to your supervisors, all right, you must check out for these frameworks. And is it measurable? Is this thing measurable? Is this something worth studying? All right. Achievable. Can I actually go about this? Do I have the cost to actually run this analysis? Do I have the cost to actually run this laboratory experiment? Do I have the money to do this, to do that? Do I have the software? Do I have the system to use? You have to check all these things. You have to know what you have, the resources you have, to make sure that you can actually go about this research. And the time frame, that's the time bound. Is it actually realistic? Is it worth researching? Is it actually going to solve any problem in this space, in my field? What am I going to actually contribute? Is it going to contribute anything actually? You want to check this out. Then time bound. What time limit? We must set a time limit. There must be a timeline. In fact, your supervisor will always tell you that from this time to this time, you must do this, you must do that, right? Then going forward is another framework, PICOT framework, all right? And PICOT framework is a structured model that we normally use in research. So specifically, you can use it in healthcare. For those of you in healthcare, yeah, you can use it in healthcare. You can use it in social sciences. All right. You can use it to develop clear and focused research questions. So I've walked you through how you can get research topic, how you can, get a clear research objective. Now we're talking about getting research question. That's the layer. Especially when you're writing your chapter one in introduction, you have of course, your topic, your introduction, your background. Then you have objectives. You have questions, research questions. So this is a framework you can use to develop a proper research question. So the population, actually are you referring to? Who are the people in question in your question? What's the case study, right? What's the population? What is the intervention? Then comparison. What are you compare the intervention you are bringing, the new solution, the recommendations you are bringing? What are there other alternatives you are looking at that you want to compare with? Then outcome. What will be the effect of your own research? What will be the effect in the industrial space, in the academic space? Then time, duration. What is the timeline you want to use? So, or what will be the timeline of the effect of your outcome? All right. So that is a framework that you want to know, you want to master whenever you are writing your research question. And I gave you an example there. You can see, let's say, for instance, you are looking at adolescents between 10 to 18 years diagnosed with anxiety disorder. That's a population. And then how effective is cognitive behavioral therapy? That's intervention. So you are introducing the cognitive behavioral therapy to 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 treat anxiety disorders, right? Compared to standard counseling. Maybe, of course, counseling is also a way, to help someone out of anxiety disorder. So that's comparison there. In reducing anxiety symptoms, that's the effect, that's the outcome within a 6 week period. That's the time range you're giving to that effectiveness. I hope you understand. So you can take note of your questions if you have any as we move on. So now we go to the next aspect, which is very, very core, which is literature review. I was talking about identifying gaps the other time. You cannot identify gaps if you have not taken time to review literature. And what does this mean? Reviewing literature is not any big English. It's just as perusing, checking out existing works that has been done related to the keywords in your topic. So what are the existing work that has been done by previous scholars, by previous researchers? And there are systems or models that you can actually apply. We have the Prisma model and we have literature matrices. All right. So some of these things I'm going to be doing time to time, short videos to explain this more and more as we go forward, because time will not permit me now to start going into all these things in depth. But then for Prisma, I just gave an overview of what Prisma is here. Of course, it's in 4 key phrases. You identify, you screen, then you enlist eligible literature, then you clue them. So identification is where you now look at using meta-analysis. You go out to different databases, and I'm sure if you are, I want to believe rather that you should have access to, you know, international databases as as a student of your university. I believe universities library subscribe to some premium databases that you can have access to. Just log in with your university email, and then you're able to access those powerful databases. When you get there, you peruse depending on your field. For instance, you're in the medicine line now, you can go to PubMed database. If your university subscribes to that, log in with your email and use certain search methodology to search for, these databases. All right. And then you are able to identify the ones that relates to your topic of discourse. You can get these databases, then screen them. Does this actually relate? Then this is where you use meta-analysis. Meta-analysis are what are the information, basic information like the abstract, like the author, like what year, is it still valid in your own uh, uh, research ecosystem? There are, of course, your centers, your universities, your department have certain standard. Probably the range of year you have to use, the range of year work that you must use. You must not work below outside this particular year. Some does not accept any work older than 2010. All right. So you want to check all those conditions, and then you identify, you screen them, then check out for the ones that are eligible for you to use, then you enlist them. That's the inclusion stage. That's Prisma model in simple form. All right. So going forward is I talk about databases that you can use. A lot of them. Most of these are actually uh, closed access. You have to subscribe to them. Of course, Google Scholar is an open access. You can access it in openly. You can go to Google Scholar, scholar.google.com. It's a beautiful database that you can get a lot of information. But then there are much more beautiful databases that you can subscribe to. You can check in with your department, you can check with your library, your universities, all right, and see if you have access to most of these databases like JSTOR, like EBSCOhost, like ProQuest and the likes. For those in the medicine line, like PubMed and the likes, you want to check in with your library to see if you have access, school access to all these databases. Then you go there and use certain strategies, search strategies. I did some courses on this last year, and then January I did some lectures on this. I think I will try to create another video maybe in subsequent time on some strategies you can use to do proper search in databases. This will also help you to get proper literature. Then the next you want to do is to ensure for academic integrity there is something you are supposed to be signing every time you write your research work, which is plagiarism agreement. You have to be sure that this work is actually your original work, not the one that you went and copy and paste, or you pay someone to do it for you. No, this is your original work. This is your intellectual property. This is original. So, and a way to go about that is to ensure that you do proper referencing. There are different styles of referencing, all right? We have APA, we have MLA, you have Harvard, you have IEEE, you have a lot of them. And now we've come to a point in time where you can use different software to manage your reference, like Sotero, like Mendeley. I did some lectures on this on January. For those of you that were not in those lectures, I will try and do probably a video or another series to walk you through some of these things, all right, to help you going forward, because you have to actually properly manage your reference. If not, whenever you subject your work to plagiarism like Turnitin, it may flag as plagiarized work if not properly referenced. So moving forward, after you must have done your literature review work, the next thing you want to look into is research design and methodology. So basically across all fields, we have about three methodologies, all right? We have qualitative, you have quantitative, and you have mixed method. So for qualitative, this is for those of you that you are in the social sciences, all right? You you are in arts, social science, all right? Any field basically that has to do with understanding human experience. If your research is going to be encompassing understanding human experience, studying certain philosophy, phenomena, all right, or you want to do ethnographic study, or you want to look at case studies, this is the methodology you'll be using, qualitative. All right, qualitative. This is when you engage people's perspective, you engage them one-on-one. What do you think about this? What do you feel about this? You want to understand human behavioral status concerning a concept you are looking into. But for the quantitative, on the other hand, it's as simple as saying numerical uh, methodology. This is where you work with numbers. So if you're in the engineering, if you're in mathematics, you are in statistics, you want to look at quantitative as your methodology, where you collect numbers, you analyze numbers, you will compute numbers. So if you're going to be doing lab work, when you go to the lab and do analysis and experimental works and all, you want to consider quantitative. And all of these methods have their own, approach. All right. You don't just jump on them just because you know what to do. But the approach you must take, there are steps you must take to make sure that you are doing it right. All right. And we have mixed method. This is when you bring the two together. There are cases like that when you do both computational work and then you look at behavioral aspect of your work. So in this case, you do mixed method, both qualitative and quantitative. Also, one of the others, another series we will do, we will look at these three in depth, so that in case when you get to that stage in your research, you'll be able to do it properly. And of course, this will inform the method you pick will inform your data collection process and analysis. So Denmark's tailored design method, it gives us a guide on how to go about designing our questionnaires and interviews, especially if you're working on qualitative analysis. And this is a breakdown, the core principle of this model. It talks about personalization, it talks about multiple contacts, it talks about respondent-friendly design. So one of the things you must make sure is that you have to recognize the individual that has to uh, that's going to be participating in this concept in your research work. I mean, your primary population. So and when you are doing that, you don't just go to them and start feeling what's the word now? Uh, entitled to their thought. No, you are not entitled. You are just a researcher. All right. You must not attach any sense of entitlement anytime you approach people. Say, for instance, probably you are in the education field and you want to carry out, you want to send questionnaires or you want to have an interview with children in secondary school or in primary school. You don't have to go there and feel like yes, because you are university undergraduate, you can just go to their school and collect their data. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to recognize, you have to make them know that this is a value this is bringing to them. Maybe you are working on the curriculum, you want to advance on curriculum, want to make curriculum more innovational. You want to go and show them the innovation you are bringing. You want to let them see the value and how this will add to their advancement in the education sector. All right. So that's personalization. Multiple contact is you can employ different kind of interaction. All right. You can make survey. You can take digital survey. You can take on-site survey. You can have in-depth interview. You can have key informant interview. You can have focus group interview. You can have a different form. In fact, you can go more creative by even doing something that will attract them, and that's the third stage, respondent friendly design. So you want to take a step further. How can you even get more quality feedback from people? So maybe you want to give incentives, like probably okay, you answer this, like there's a researcher that in our school, and she's working on something related to psychology, right? And she reached out to us to fill some a survey, and she did something that for all of us that feels she's going to be giving us about 150 rand. And that's something interesting for most of us that of course we want the money, at least we can buy probably chicken and chips with that. So it will encourage people to come on board and actually say their mind or fill the form correctly and get quality. Yes, I know it can be capital intensive, but it doesn't have to be money. You can do something else, probably data, something creative, or you can even design your questionnaire in a way. Let's say, for instance, you are going to children uh, ecosystem. You want to do attractive questionnaires. You may not want to use the conventional one like all the black and white on white paper. You want to do something more creative, right? So this is a model, this is a method that Dilma actually points to us. Then going forward are the steps. These are the steps you will follow one after the other. So I'm running out of time. So, but then you can look up on this method. I think I will share my slide on the group. All right. So you can look at this step one after. It's very, very clear. I've tried to simplify them that you can follow anytime you want to start your research and you get to this point. You can take this step one after the other. Define survey design first, pre-testing, tailored contact and follow-ups. So you want to make sure that you are doing these things right. You're not just like I see a lot of people who just send survey on the group and then that's all. No, you may not get quality response doing that. And that's why you have to follow tailored design, DMAS tailored design, TDM. All right. This is a good approach you can follow. And uh, I believe with this you will get, yes, you will get quality data at the end of the day. And then the first step is personalization and incentive. I mentioned this the other time. You can go, you can take a step further. This is what makes all these advanced country. This is what make them advanced. These little things that we just trivialize, that we just throw aside. They prioritize people's feeling. They prioritize people they are engaging, population they are engaging in research, and they make them feel that yes, we actually need to participate in this research. So how do you carry out a research and make people see reasons to participate with you? So this is the essence of applying the mass tailor design method. I've given you the 5 steps. You can read them up when you have my slide, and then if you have questions, you can always reach out. I've also tried to break it down in a flow chart there. All right. So going from survey design to pre-testing to initial contact to survey distribution to multiple follow-ups to final reminder. Then the next is data collection and analysis. If you are working with quantitative, all the ones we'll be talking about before now is on qualitative analysis, right? But for quantitative, the approach is different. You're going to be using all those. You're going to be using data analysis tools, softwares like SPSS, like Excel, like R, And even for qualitative, there are some tools and software you can use if you are doing thematic analysis and the rest, like NVivo, like Atlas.ti. These are you know tools that help you to interpret your textual or thematic data. All right. I'm going to also have a dedicated section on some of this software, going forward, because this time may not permit us to cover all this. All right. But knowing this basic, knowing what to do, knowing where you are going in your research journey is very, very important for you. Then after you must have done that, there's what we call triangulation, where you interpret your results. All right. There's a structure on how you can discuss your finding to analyze what you've done. Probably you are using different methodologies or what have you. This is the point where you now sit down and look at your work properly. What the data you have collected, how do I now interpret this? Because communication is very key in research. You don't just do research and then if you are not able to communicate it in writing, all right, and that's why earlier I was talking about a framework, a model on academic writing. I think I'm still going to talk about it. Yeah, going forward. There are models you can apply when doing academic writing. It's very, very, it's not just the normal conventional way of writing. You have to write such that people can communicate and you can communicate to people and they can understand what you're actually doing, what research, what solution you are bringing, what innovation you're bringing. I once saw a post on some of the things that researchers do sometimes when you try to use bogus, complex words just in the name of you are doing one big research. No, that's not the essence of research. Research is to make it work better, is to make people see what you are doing. So basic components, of course, for other grants, basic component has to include your abstract, your introduction chapter, your history review chapter, your methodology chapter, your finding chapter, and your conclusion chapter. So basically five chapters, all right? So you want to have five chapters that encompass all these sections. All right. And maybe also time to time I'll be doing brief short videos on what are the things that you must be in your introduction chapter. Some of the things that how you can come up with a proper literary review chapter, how you can come up with a proper methodology chapter, and all even your findings. How do you discuss your finding? How do you present your findings? And how do you make conclusions and recommendations? So these are some of the things I would do further, you know, to be at the post, uh, to be the post advantage you have from having this particular course. So once you're able to do this, then you'll be able to convey what you've done to the public or to the community of researchers. Do you get? And it has to be as clear as possible. I've mentioned about referencing the other time. Every time you structure a proper formatting according to APA or MLA or Harvard, ensures that your work it follows a logical flow, and that I have to identify that as well. There's a way you write your research, and when your supervisor is reading it, or even when the public uh, readers are reading your work, or fellow researchers are reading your work, it has to be systematic. It has to follow a one-on-one step, logical flow. You are coming from you are bringing our attention from a context into a gap that you discover, into the work that has been done over time and the limitations to some of these works. Into okay, fine, these are the methods that have been used, and this is what you feel about this method, and this is what you think your own methodology that you want to use. And then from that flow, you go straight, okay, now I've adopted the method, I have carried out my data analysis, and this is what I came up with, and these are my recommendations, and this is my conclusion. Just a simple flow from head to bottom. So then we go to after all this has been said and done, what you want to do is to do an effective academic writing. So you want to implement all that you have discovered, all right? And there's a principle I will introduce you to, which is Goben and Swan principle. So there's a book they wrote, and you want to check up that book. I think I will try and share the resource to the group later on. You can this particular guide will help you to master how to write academic writing. It's different from any other writing you may think of, maybe narrative, maybe the one you use in novel, the one you use on blog, the one you use when you're writing post on your LinkedIn or Facebook. It's quite different when you're writing for academic writing. There are principles, there are structures you must follow. Another thing you want to master after you have done your work, you have done your work. When I mean done your work, you did your work yourself. The next thing you want to do is to present this work. So how do you present? Do you just go about showing all your pages of research paper? No. You want to organize your work systematically. You want to summarize this work in a concise manner such that you bring them on a PowerPointed uh, presentation and show to the fellow scholars or your supervisors or whoever will be your audience when presenting. You present to them, this is what you have come up with, this is what you've discovered, this is your work. And when they see the presentation, they're able to know what everything that you have done in your 54 pages publication, your 54 pages research work. So in 10, 15 slides, you have done something, you have put in your work together for people to understand. And another thing you have to understand is a structure you can use when presenting. 10 slide is fine, 20 minutes is okay. So it's called, this method is called 10, 20, 30 rule when making effective presentations, especially for research presentation. 20, 20, 10, 20, 30, 10 for 10 slides, all right, 20 for 20 minutes time range, and then your point, your font, the font you use when writing your presentation should be within 30 point font, and it must be visually appealing. As you can see in my slide, visually appealing. Use beautiful pictures to talk about the concept you are. If it's on research, if let's say for instance you are working in the lab, you want to show some of the pictures you snap in the lab, some of the work you are, one of the things you are working on, you want to show them. All right. If it is within you did research probably in a particular site or in at a particular school, you want to show some of those things. You are working in the agricultural space. You want to show some of these plants that you are working on. You want to show them. Then another thing you want to do is how to handle question and answer section. A lot of us becomes fidgeted, we become confused when a question is thrown at us. There's a simple method, a simple framework you can use. STAR framework. Whenever a question is thrown at you, and this will even help you beyond just research presentation. If you are even going for an interview, STAR framework is something that you must master. When anytime a question is thrown at you, four things should be ringing in your head on how to answer it: situation, task, action, result. What's the situation of that question? What situation is that question pointing to? You start with that situation. You start identifying that situation. That's the first thing. So what is the task that you did? Or what's the task at hand rather from that situation? Okay, we talk about the impact of social media on student academic performance. That's the situation. So when the question is thrown at you at then you talk about that situation. Yes, the impact of uh, it's a known it's a known reality that social media is beginning to have and hold on in student academic performance. That is the situation. Then tax. And it is essential that we come about a system that can help mitigate the screen time that students spend on social or on their phones and accessing the social media platforms. And to address this has been done by your work, this and that and this and this, and then this is the result that you got from your analysis and all. So that has followed a STAR framework. And whoever you give the answers to will understand, will know that you know your onions, you will understand you know what you are doing, and you'll be able to actually answer the question properly. So regardless, any question that is being asked in the work you've done, always follow STAR framework. Do you get Khadijat? Yeah. So oh, mm, and, mm, yes, I've been saying that. Yeah, welcome, mommy. It's good to have you here. So I've been saying that one of the things I want to do with the people that are ready for this, who are actually writing research, is to see that the group is open and you can always reach out to me as well. So once you identify your topic, we can. I'm going to be doing short videos going forward on each of these concepts, where I will break these concepts down properly. So, like, I can pick up introduction chapter now and do a brief video on what are the things you have to do when writing uh, introduction chapter of your research work. So for once you do that and then you watch that video and then you start your own project, if you have any challenge, you can always ask and practice whatever I show. Like what I've done so far now, I've shown you some model that you can look up. I'm going to show you my material. Look at this concept, sit down with it, pick up, start working on your own research work. Start looking at how to identify a research topic and now apply some of the things I've shown you here on your own. Then when you have challenges, then reach out to me either on the group, either any of my contact platform here. Then ask me a question and I'll answer. Because just like you said, we all do not have all the time to sit 2 hours at a stretch, learning this concept. Time is very, very precious. All right. And it can even be very boring for you when you are sitting 2, 3 hours on a particular concept. But when you do these things yourself and you encounter challenges, then let's come and do other things together. Ask questions. Then, I'm able to personalize my answer to your own uh, situation. I don't know if I'm able to answer that well, my mommy. Yes, you tried. Thank you very much. Okay. Mm, mm, mm. Yes. 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 No problem. And I think I tried to record my section from this end. So I will also see if I can upload it for you to have access to. So for those who are not available, they can always watch this section over and again. All right. So any other question? All right. So I think this brings us to the end of this workshop. So I want you all to be active on the group, ask questions, start working. Research is very, very interesting. I will always tell you that because it is really. So start working, ask questions, and we are available for you. All right. I am available for you. All right. So there's another question that will bring us to the end.